Hi, Pete's fans. Welcome to another episode of For Pete's Sake, your podcast on everything Peterborough Pete's. It is officially mid-March, the Ides of March, as someone might say, and I don't think the Ottawa 67s have ever read that Shakespearean play because they were in for a bruising this week. We played Ottawa twice and came out victorious twice. We are going to have all that information for you. We have our 3 stars of the week as well, and we're going to look at our, even though it's dimming perhaps by the day, our playoff picture because we're not out of it until we're statistically out of it. Hockey fans are the most optimistic creatures that like to hold on to every shred of hope. We are no different, so we're going to keep hyping up the boys until the very last minute. And even if they are eliminated, there's always positives we can look at. So we're going to keep hyping up the boys, but we will let you know what needs to happen, however unlikely, for the Petes to be playing postseason hockey this year. And then we are going to look ahead at the week ahead. The games are starting to run out. It is almost the end of the regular season. I'm going to miss it. So we will have those details for you. My name is Josh Reeser, your co-host, and as you know by now, my co-host to my left is my twin brother, Encyclopedia of OHL Knowledge, Matt Reeser. First of all, what do you think of the weather the last 2 days, Matt? Are you excited by that mild weather, or are you a winter guy?
Yeah, I like it. I think it was nice to get a real winter, but I'm ready to kind of be outside and enjoying the sun and going on walks, so I can't complain.
Yeah, no, I was ready for winter to be over by November, to be honest. So I'm loving it. I love hockey, but I like the cold. It gets to me. Anyways, you know who's not cold this week? The Peterborough Petes. That is my terrible segue into our recaps, beginning with the first game, Peterborough versus Ottawa, and it was a dramatic 4-3 victory. This was a fun game. The Petes are, like I said, not statistically dead, but for all intents and purposes, it's not looking great for a run to the postseason. They will likely be one of the teams in the lottery for a top pick. However, every now and then they still have games where it is just a fun, emotional game, and the fans and the players are fired up, and that was certainly this one. Playing against these 67s, like I said, Peterborough came out strong, jumped out to a 2-0 lead. Goals from their bottom 6 forwards, which is great to see. Those energy guys getting rewarded. It was Brody Partridge getting the Petes on the board first, and Faulkner would add another one. Those two guys kind of a little spark plugs down in the bottom 6 that do everything the coaches ask, and it's nice to see them get rewarded. Ottawa would start to turn it on. They're playing for their playoff lives, so you know they're going to come out desperate. And in the second and third period, they were firing pucks at the net. Shots 33-14. Ottawa was carrying a lot of the play. Jonathan Millie would actually add another goal in the third period, his 20th of the year, and surprise, surprise, it's a short-handed goal because that's what Jonathan Millie does. That would actually make it a tie game. It was a tie game midway through the third. Ottawa 67s 3, Petes 3. Looked like we might be heading for some overtime until Jens Eula, young defenseman for the Petes, gets the puck at the point, fires it on net, and with 5.4 seconds left, scores the goal. Petes go crazy, and it was wild how loud it was in that arena. It's so nice to have a game, like I said, where the Petes just fire you up. They win in such a dramatic way. Jens Eula had a very strong game. I thought it was very fitting. He was the hero. He was physical. He laid a huge hit in the first period. His skating and puck moving are very impressive. He's definitely a guy, we'll chat about it a bit later, a guy that I think to keep tabs on going forward, not just for the Petes, but maybe even around the league. And just another quick note on the game. Brady Stonehouse came over from Ottawa. I was probably at the deadline, so that's what, a couple months now, 2 months,
Yeah.
and he there is no friendships remaining on the 67s. It looked like he was fired up the whole game. He was chirping him. He was running at him after the whistle. He was face washing him after the whistle. He got hit from behind midway through the game, partway through the game, maybe a little bit more than midway. There was no call. Malee jumped in and to his credit, stuck up for Stonehouse. You could tell Stonehouse appreciated it. But from then on, he was fired up. He was chirping after the whistle. He was chirping while he was sitting on the Pete's bench. He was just he buys into whatever team he's playing for. And I think that's going to serve him well. He's an undrafted guy going to the NHL, and that's the way he's going to have to make it. He's going to have to be that guy that just buys into whatever team he's playing for and just outworks and out passions and out hustles other guys. So very interesting to see him as fired up against his old squad like he was. I wish for his sake he had another shot at the postseason. It's not looking likely at this point, but I think he's a guy that would really absolutely drive other teams nuts. But anyway, after that goal with 5.4 seconds left, he was staring down the Ottawa 67s bench and chirping, and I'm sure they did not like to see that. So very, very entertaining, passion-filled, fuel-filled, entertaining game, and the Pete's come out with a last-second victory. I love it. It reminds us why we support the boys, why we love hockey, because it has not been the season we wanted on the score sheet, but these games still happen, and it is full money value when they do.
Yeah.
So,
well said.
Very, very happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways.
And then it can't get much better. They go into Ottawa on the Saturday.
Absolutely.
For a little matinee affair. And they walk out of Ottawa with a shootout victory, a 4-3 shootout victory. And this was another one of a nice gritty performance by the team. Ottawa actually built a 2-0 lead and was controlling the game until late in the second when Paget kind of created a spark like he can. Mm-hmm. Got the Pete's on the board. It's a 2-1 game. You feel good about going into a third period down 1 instead of 2. And I guess there was a stat during the intermission that the Pete's have been trailing in 30 games after 2 periods, and they've only come back twice. Well, I guess this was the third time because the Pete's came out. Ottawa actually jumped on the board less than just over a minute in up to get up 3-1, and you're kind of thinking, well, maybe they've just run out of gas, but Peterborough stuck with it. They scored less than 2 minutes later. Faulkner getting another goal, keeping his goal streak alive, and then they get a power play, draw a power play on a tripping call. And then Stonehouse just unloads a one-timer from Bryant into the net to tie it up. Let the other team know about it again, what he did there. He was very excited and also willing to let the other team know how he felt about scoring that goal in his former home arena. Mm-hmm. And that tied it up at 3. And then they went to overtime, had some really good chances in overtime. But then they go to the shootout, and Bowen stops all 3 Ottawa shooters, and Caden Automatic Taylor in the shootout puts another one in with another signature move. You so feel impressive. So confident when he's out there in the shootout.
Absolutely.
He goes in, you're he's going to score.
Yeah. I know. I absolutely. I can't remember a guy where he starts the shootout and I'm okay, yeah. Who are they going to put in that has to score because we're going to be up by 1?
Yeah. So there you go. You walk away with 2 games in the week with 4 points, and for Ottawa, they go and play North Bay the next day and lose in regulation, so they get 1 point out of a possible 6. So as they say, playoffs are bye.
Mm-hmm. I like it. I love to see these 2 victories. Love it. If there's a bittersweet moment to it, I couldn't help but think, what if this was a couple weeks ago?
Yeah.
When we had those 2 games against Ottawa, we were trailing by 5.
Yeah.
We could have possibly been 1 point back. With the momentum going, we had our lineup still reasonably healthy. The suspensions hadn't kicked in yet. What if? But we'll never know. I mean, we'll take wins any way we can get them. It's very nice to see the boys still have bite and still show they can get hyped up for a game and have something to play for. So I'm certainly not belittling these wins. I wish it had happened 2 weeks ago and this week.
Yeah.
And and we had left Ottawa kind of behind us in our rearview mirror. That would have been super sweet. But beggars can't be choosers. Solid week. Good work, boys. And there's something fun about being spoiler too, you know. I think the Pete's might even kind of like it in a sick way. So, very good, very strong week. Well, that'll bring us into our 3 stars. We'll start with, there was a bunch of names we could have gone with. We're going to shout out number 1, Brendan Faulkner. Like I said, kind of a bottom 6 guy. He can play up the lineup in a pinch if there's injuries. I imagine a coach's dream. He works so hard. He does the little thing right. Looks like he takes a lot of pride in working on the specific details of his game, and it's nice to see him get rewarded. Scored crucial goals in both games. The second one in the first game, and then he had one I think it was the tying goal in the second game.
Got to 3-2.
Okay, yeah, he got it to 3-2. So kind of sparking the comeback a little bit after Page got us started in the second game. So good on you, Faulkner. Love to see those energy guys get rewarded, like I said, and it's nice to see how much a goal means to those guys. Second, we're going with former Ottawa 67 and 67 killer this week, Brady Stonehouse. Like we said, game 1, just so passionate. He was agitating all night. A big reason why I think Ottawa was off their game. Took a big hit from behind, and he just, you could tell the guys wanted to win it for him. He was definitely one of the emotional leaders in that one. And then he scores a power play goal in the second game in that shootout win. So I was, when the trade went down, I was wondering how he would respond being traded to the Petes, who are a rival of the 67s. And he has just bought in, and he's like, these are my guys now. Like, screw Ottawa 67s, essentially. So it's nice to see how he can just jump on board, and I'm sure the guys appreciate that he's bought in, and he's continuing to fight. And third, Jonathan Malee, the captain. 20-goal season for a Pete's team that has struggled this year is not too shabby, and he has 5 shorthanded goals. That's second in the OHL. When he gets his chance, he's got very good finishing. Stepped up for Stonehouse in that first game, like I said, after the hit. So it's a guy that definitely cares and wants to be a Pete. Unfortunately, looks like his time will be over as a Pete soon, but a good legacy he had here, and nice to see him finishing off the year strong.
Yep, absolutely.
A couple honorable mentions, and I just wanted to throw this out to you, Matt, for discussion as well. Another guy that could have been on that list, I think Gensula. I've just been so impressed. I wanted to mention him. I wanted to mention Easton Rye too, as another guy who, there's been a bunch of Petes that have stepped up in big ways. I'm excited for Fitzgerald. But those 2 guys have just caught my eye. I wanted to give them a shout out this week in particular. I think Gensula is going to be a dynamo defenseman. I love the way he skates. I love he's physical, scoring big goals. I think he's very slick back there. I think he's a big piece of this team going forward, and I think he's going to put the league on notice. I think he already has. But I think going forward, if he keeps progressing at his game, I think lots of people are going to be knowing that name. So good on him. I wanted to throw that out there. And then Easton Rye, he's the most improved Pete for me so far. Didn't know much about his potential just because he didn't have the opportunity the last couple of years, and he has done nothing but go in and give us steady goaltending and look very confident. And it's nice to see the Petes win some games for him recently and kind of get him back in the mix. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on those 2 guys, but I felt like I wanted to give them a shout out this week.
His play hasn't dropped off, which I think is the big thing for Easton Rye. You never feel like he's getting tired, even though he's faced a lot of shots. And he's getting starts over Bowen sometimes. they're putting him in the first game of the week sometimes, which shows you how much confidence the team has in him.
Yep.
10 wins on a team that hasn't done too well this year is pretty impressive for a rookie goalie.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to give a shout out to a former Pete now. I know this is a Pete's podcast, but we got to give some love to former Peterborough Pete Nick Lardis, who recently scored his 70th goal of the season. 70 goals. He is drafted by the Chicago Blackhawks, as you know. Former Pete, he was a first-round pick. We traded him during our championship run season to the Hamilton Bulldogs at the time. They're now Brantford. We got Avery Hayes and we got Gavin White in return. Those were big pieces of the championship run. So I'm not saying the trade is a loss by any means, but this guy has just gone there and been everything they could have hoped for. So just some wicked stats from this crazy season for Nick Lardis. Like I said, 70 goals in the CHL since 2000. So we're 25 years now. There's only 8 players that have done it. It was done by Connor Bedard most recently, who is, a generational talent, also a Blackhawk. So we'll see, maybe those two guys link up and take the league by storm in a couple of years. Which is just, it's crazy to think about 70 and only 8 players in the CHL, not just the OHL, CHL in the last 25 years. And if we're looking at the OHL, in the last 35 years, the only other players to eclipse 70 or more goals, John Tavares, who was an exceptional status player, and Eric Lindros, who I think was also exceptional status and a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty awesome list to compare yourself to. Lardis has done nothing but fill the net. He did it against the Petes a couple times. Don't like seeing that. Maybe score against the other teams, Nick. But it's nice to see, a former Pete. He didn't ask for a trade as far as we know. It was just we had to give up something in order to get some good players, and he's made a name for himself there. He's on pace for 76 goals this year, and just a couple numbers here for you from these 70 goals. So 20 times this year, Nick Lardis has scored multiple goals per game, 2 or more goals per game. In 61 games, 20 of them, he's scored multiple times. That's 32.7, almost 33% of his games, he's getting more than one goal. That is wild. He had a 17-game goal streak from January 8th to February 20th. It was the longest streak of anyone in the CHL, not just the OHL, and it was just shy of the OHL record, which was actually held by former NHL or former Peterborough Pete, Mike Ricci and Alex DeBrincat. They are both tied with 19. Hat-tricks, 7 hat-tricks collected by Lardis through 61 games this year. 7. That's wild. He only had 1 prior to this season, and he had 7 this year. That is just a crazy stat about how he's filling the net. I can't get over how dominant he's been. So, there's not much to say other than he's been brilliant. I'm sure the Blackhawks are thrilled. They've signed him to the entry-level contract. I can't imagine they thought the year would go this good. No. And he's certainly just been on fire. I know you were very high on Lardis, even up to the year we traded him. So I don't know if you have any other thoughts on the matter, but we need to give him his due. Yeah. Even though he plays for Brantford, he's a former Pete, and he's just turning heads. So good on you, Nick Lardis. Keep scoring those goals, but not against the Petes, and get that 76.
Yeah. Fair enough.
That's what I'd like to say.
Yeah. He reminds me a lot right now when he was in town lately. You were there for that game when he scored on the Petes multiple last
night. That was.
He reminds me of Nick Robertson in that year where they were going to win the title.
Yeah.
Disclaimer, they were going to win that
The
year.
COVID year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Robertson, you knew he was going to score 2 goals every game. It didn't matter how he did it, but every game he had 2 or more goals on the score sheet. You remember that year? He was automatic.
Yeah.
And that's what Lardis feels like. He feels like Nick Robertson with the Petes that one year.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Chicago got a great one, like
Yeah.
we said. Let's hope he can keep it going.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to the Petes, because this is a Pete show. The playoff picture, Reese, you're going to take us through this one. Like I said, maybe not as light as it looked a couple weeks ago when they were on a bit of a run, but we're not statistically out of it.
Yeah.
What needs to happen?
Yeah, so the Petes and North Bay and Ottawa all have 6 games left, which means there's a total of 12 points you can get if you win all your games.
Mm-hmm.
The Petes are 11 back of the 8th seeded North Bay Battalion.
Okay.
So they have to win out, so win every single game the rest of the season. North Bay cannot get a single point in any of their remaining 6 games because if they tie the Petes, they held a tiebreaker because we went 1-3 against North Bay this year.
Okay.
And Ottawa can pick up 4 points in their remaining 6 games.
Gotcha.
But they can't tie us because I believe they have the tiebreaker as well over us.
Gotcha.
So it's going to be tough, but there's a chance.
Yeah, you like the Dumb and Dumber. If you've ever seen that movie, you're telling me there's a chance, and we like to hold on to that hope as crazy hockey fans and as crazy Pete's fans.
Yeah.
So we're holding out. So 6 games.
Yeah.
We can do that.
Yeah.
We can win 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and then we got a scoreboard watch, and we got to watch North Bay implode down the stretch.
Yeah.
If we get in, what team wants to play us if we get in on a 6-game win streak and guys start to get healthy again?
No one.
I'm getting myself excited. I don't know if I should be getting my hopes up, but we're not statistically out of it yet.
No.
So let's keep an eye on the rest of the season. Let's support the boys, even if they don't make this magical, improbable situation come to fruition. Let's support the boys.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They've earned it.
Yeah. So yeah, the Petes start their last 6 games this week. They have 2 weeks in a row with 3 games, so it's going to be busy. You're going to need all your guys contributing, especially in 3 games in a weekend. Mm-hmm. They have the Steelheads on a Wednesday night this week at the Memorial Center, so tomorrow. And Connor Smith will make his last game at the Memorial Center until we get in the playoffs and beat them.
Absolutely.
So it'll be nice to see him back in the Memorial Center. He was a big part of the Petes. They've recorded points in 9 of their last 10 games. They've actually won 7 of them in regulation, dropped 2 of them in a shootout. So they've really turned the corner since that kind of January break. They came back and they've just gotten better and stronger, and they're beating the upper echelon teams now. They actually shut out Kingston 6-0. They took London to overtime. They've beat Oshawa in their last 2 meetings. So this team looks like they're rounding into shape right before the playoffs. They kind of remind me a little bit of the Petes that year where they were kind of trying to get their team gelling near the end of the season. And so if they get in, they could be dangerous because they've jumped all the way up to 5th in the Eastern Conference, and they were like 9th or 10th at one point this year. So speaks volumes of their ability to just dig in and find their game. And they have some upper echelon talent, so it will definitely not be an easy game for the Petes. But they beat them this year, so...
We play well against strong teams. Yeah. So I believe.
Yeah, and then the Petes travel to Kingston. They've played this team well all year, actually, other than the home opener, which was a 7-2 defeat on home ice. Other than that one, the Petes have been in tight games with this team. They pulled out a shootout win in their last meeting against Kingston, and Kingston's only played 500 hockey lately, so they're not really finishing that strong at the end of the year. They loaded up at the deadline, grabbing those players from Saginaw. So I still think they're a very strong team. They're not to be looked down on at all, but the Petes have had an ability to stay with them all year. So anything can happen if you stay close against a team like Kingston, and the Petes will just have to be on their game if they want to walk out of there with a win. And then they wrap up the week with the Wolves coming into town. Nice to see McCoy get a final game in the Memorial Center. And they're currently riding a 4-game winning streak. And Quentin Musty has kind of been turning it on lately. He was the player of the week last week. and they dropped 7 goals on Barrie in their last game. So their offense is kind of rounding into shape. So definitely not an easy week. You got some tough matchups, but familiar teams to you, so you know kind of their games. So just stick with it and see what you can come out with. And even if it is the end of a playoff run at one of these games, the Petes will always dig in and play hard. So
Absolutely.
it'll be entertaining to get down there and watch the games. So let's see how they do and cheer on the team.
For sure. Absolutely. Yeah, that's kind of all we have for the show today. It's a little bit of a quicker show with just 2 games. But I just want to echo what Matt just said. Like, there's 6 games left. Support the boys. You don't really realize what it was until there's no hockey anymore. And I know I'm going to miss it terribly over the summer. I know other fans will as well. So get out there, support the boys while we can. It means a lot to the guys. It means a lot to the overagers that won't be back in the OHL. And even some of the guys that will. They want to know that the fans support them. The Petes are one of the greatest shows in town, and let's show them that we're loud and proud, and we believe in the direction of this team. And I think better days are definitely ahead. So let's show them what we got as fans, and let's welcome some former Petes back. Like Matt said, Connor Smith, Donovan McCoy wasn't that long ago that we were in the good old days on top of the world, and those guys were big parts of it. So let's make sure we welcome them back with open arms before we beat them on the scoreboard. So that's all we got for you today. A little bit of a quicker show, like we said. We'll have our video posted up on Facebook, on YouTube, and if you like the audio version, it will be on Spotify as well. I will share those links to our Facebook page and our Instagram page, and the video will be there as well. So tune in if you get the chance, and I hope we see you down at the rink. Enjoy the nice weather out there, and I hope you guys wrap up the March break well for all of you that are of that age, and get some time off to enjoy a little mid-March vacation.
Yep.
So anyways, signing off again. Thanks for listening. I'm Josh. This is Matt beside me. And as always, go Petes, go.